All right, welcome to my quick little lesson on adding and subtracting fractions. So remember that when you're adding and subtracting fractions, you need common denominators. So if you are unfamiliar with your times tables, you might want to use a times table chart. So grab one of those if you need one. We'll start with a fairly simple example. You might want to write some of these down if you need to, or you can just watch and then work on your worksheets. So let's go 1/2 plus 3/5. Okay, so we need common denominators. So basically we're creating equivalent fractions. We need to look at our denominators here and find something that both 2 and 5 go into. So the smallest thing is 10. So to make them both into 10s, basically we multiply the top and the bottom by 2, because what we're really multiplying by there is 2 over 2, which is 1. And on this side, we're going to multiply by 5 over 5. Make sure you do top and bottom. You're creating an equivalent fraction. This becomes 5/10 plus 6/10, and then you keep your denominator the same and you add your numerators, so you get 11/10. Okay, let's do another simple example. Let's do 2/3 plus 1/4. So I look at my denominators and I can make them both into 12s. So how would I do that? I would multiply this one by 4 over 4. So 4 times 2 is 8 over 12. And over here, I'd be multiplying by 3 over 3. So this becomes 3 over 12. Add the tops and the bottom stays the same. So I have 11/12. You do need to double check when you get your sum that you can't reduce it. Okay, let's do one more before I introduce some negative numbers. So what if I have improper fractions, 1 3/4 minus 1 1/2. Okay, so what you want to do here is you want to put them as an improper fraction first. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So I've got 7/4 minus 3/2. Okay, that is a prerequisite skill. We talked about that before. You could use 8 as your denominator, or you hopefully recognize that you can use 4 as your common denominator. So this one will become 6 over 4. So 7 take away 6 is 1 over 4. Okay, let us now take a peek at putting some negatives in there. So let's try -1/2 plus -3/5. Okay, same. I always want to now keep my negative with my numerator so that it's always the same. So what is my common denominator here? It is 10. So this will become -5/10 plus, if I'm changing that to a 10, I'm timesing by 2, -6/10. So my bottom stays as a 10. -5 plus -6 is -11 over 10. Okay, this is where we have to be a little bit careful. If I have -3.5, take away 5 1/4, let's say. So 3 times 2 is 6 and 1 is 7. This is -7 over 2. What sometimes people do is they'll go 2 times -3 is -6 plus 1 is -5. But what you have to kind of think of is just ignore the negative sign for the moment when you're creating the improper fraction and know that the overall fraction is negative. So 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7, and this is a -7 over 2. Okay, so please be careful of that when you are changing your mixed fractions into improper fractions. 4 times 5 is 20, so I've got 21 over 4. So my common denominator is 4, so this will become -14 over 4. Take away 21 over 4, which is -35 over 4, and I cannot reduce that, so that is that. You can feel free to leave them as an improper. If you wanted to convert that back over to a mixed, you could. This would be 4 times 8 is 32, 8 3/4, and this is a negative fraction. Okay, so that's basically adding and subtracting in a nutshell. Just be careful of your negatives and make sure you don't make integer errors. Use your calculator to help you if you need to on the adding and subtracting of integers. You can go ahead and work through. Now on this one on your sheet, there's a little bit of a correction. So you are going to need to complete either the worksheet or the task cards. Then you must do the scavenger hunt at your desk. That's a different one. It's not on your sheet, so you need to add that one in there, as well as the calculator worksheet before moving on to the checkpoint. So lots of practice with adding and subtracting before the checkpoint.